just to maximize our time and efficiency.
Okay.
Do you think it's actually better if we just go back to the old division of labor where you clean and cook and I'll go bring home the bacon and all this stuff? Do you think?
I enjoy contributing to a relationship financially, and I enjoy what I do.
Why does that come back to a type of scorekeeping where we're actually saying, hey, I go out and I earn the money and I mow the lawn and I take out the trash. And if anything breaks around the house, I fix it. Therefore, I'm off the hook for everything else. And I'm not saying that it's not a valid argument. I don't necessarily agree with it. The part that kind of gets me is, why is it a problem if you are doing more?
I think it's just like you feel tired and you feel unseen. People do stuff and not necessarily wanting to be appreciated, but you do want to be appreciated. And so when I'm feeling like I'm doing more, it comes from a place of I'm not feeling fully appreciated.
A Pew Research study showed, and these were 3 interviews, so this wasn't just people making it up. They actually went out and it was a pretty big sample size.
Actually, I think I have it on my phone. I should pull it up.
But we'll just say that basically when it came to household chores, women did close to twice as much. Okay, so this is a 2007 Pew Research poll. Women did about twice as much
as
men in household chores, while men did a little bit more of the sort of household maintenance, right? I have friends who have even said very openly, either he makes more money than I do, so therefore that can be, or works more hours than I do, so therefore. And then there's also these rhythms and patterns that we kind of get into and make an assumption. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is, we talk about that in those kind of 2 terms, but in what way are we really valuing that is one thing. And then why does that come back to a type of scorekeeping where we're actually saying, hey, I go out and I earn the money and I mow the lawn and I take out the trash. And, and if anything breaks around the house, I fix it. Therefore, I'm off the hook for everything else. And, you could certainly make that argument. I'm not saying that it's not a valid argument. I don't necessarily agree with it most of the time, but it's a valid argument. The part that kind of gets me is, why is it a problem if you are doing more? Or if you are bringing more value? Why do men or women sometimes too, because women will also feel a little resentful, like I'm doing more of the housework.
I think it's just like you feel tired and you feel unseen. I think that is what happens. People do stuff and not necessarily wanting to be appreciated, but you do want to be appreciated. And so when I'm feeling like I'm doing more, it comes from a place of I'm not feeling fully appreciated.
Yes. So that kind of comes to one of the things you wanted to talk about, which is actually showing gratitude, being grateful and speaking it.
Yeah. So for me, and this is going to sound so petty, is because when you would cook and everyone would be like, oh, thanks, Matthew, for making dinner, and oh, you're such a good cook. And I would go clean dishes for 2 hours and no one would be like, thanks, Sarah, for cleaning. The kitchen is clean. I just didn't feel like I was getting the same compliments that you were getting, but it was taking me as much time. So when you cooked, I stopped being in gratitude.
Yeah.
I stopped saying thank you to you, because I was just no one is saying thank you to me, and I think part of the resentment is that I was I'm spending as much time cleaning as you're spending cooking. And actually you do, because you are such a good cook, so it's almost like you spend less time even cooking.
No, you think that, but actually cooking, even when I cook quickly, it actually still generally takes me more time to cook than to clean, but to even, let's say it took me 45 minutes to cook a good meal, and you don't usually spend more than half an hour in the kitchen cleaning because you're fast at it. So a fast meal for me is a half an hour to 45 minutes is fast. And for you, cleaning maybe takes half an hour. So it tended to be a little bit more, but that gets into scorekeeping, the thing. But then, of course, so does who's showing me appreciation. That can come into it too. So I think you're right. But, one of the things that I've also been doing, as you've noticed in the last couple of weeks, you've been cooking a lot because we have this new schedule. And it's so nice to be cooked for. I'm so grateful. And I say it 10 times how much I love it. And in some ways, the food tastes even better to me,
I'm not sure if it tastes better or you're just saying that to encourage me that I can keep doing it.
It tastes good because I know, because part of the taste of the food is also the gift that you're giving me of me getting to sit down and just be served. I get served every other day. And then when I get to serve you, it feels so great. I love getting up and making coffee on my coffee day. Like, I'm loving this system because I love, and I think that's what's like so exciting to me right now.
God, tomorrow is your day. I want coffee in bed.
And I'm excited about tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited about that because I get to like make you a good meal. I get to get up. I'm the one who gets up and makes the coffee, and there's a rhythm to that feels really good. And so that's why I wanted to come back to this question of why is it a problem to do more? Like why, and you brought this up. You're like, oh, well, it's just, if particularly maybe perhaps for women to not feel like it's being, that work is being appreciated. But I'm going to go back and tell this little story.
Yeah.
My best friend and I we were hitchhiking around Europe, and we were in Ireland, and we went with a van full of women to see a movie. And because we were working at a Camp Hill for a couple weeks, and it was all women and just two of us guys. And when we went and watched the movie. Came out, we got in the car and we saw there was a flat tire. We'd gotten in and they started to drive away. It's flat. And the woman who was driving said, "All right, boys, go fix the tire." And we hopped up and we go and we get the spare and we get the jack and we're jacking it up. And we're kind of sitting there going through, and Benny's like, why is it that it's always, "All right, boys, go do that."
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, this is like 1996, 97, something like that, 1996. And I'm thinking,
was the woman your age or was she older?
No, she was older, but but everyone else was our age, all these other girls. So we were there with, it was a big band. So somewhere around 10 people, all women, 2 guys, boys, go do it. None of the girls got out. It was raining too, by the way. So we get out in the rain and because it's Ireland. So we get out and we're changing the tire. And he says, yeah, why is it always the guys that have to do it? I'm like, that's a good question, right? This is the modern era. It should be, anybody should go girls, go guys, whatever, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I said, well, actually it's because we enjoy doing it. And he stopped for a second. It was so funny. And he goes, huh, you're right. And then we kind of went through and we were doing it. And it was like, because we enjoy doing it. And I think that's something that gets lost in when guys might say, if they're the primary breadwinner, which is, I'm doing all this work, I'm earning the money, I shouldn't do this other thing. It's like, yeah, you're doing it. And you might not love the job necessarily. Not everyone has a job they love, but there's a sense of purpose in the work that you're doing is needed. Even if whether you're a janitor or whether you're a bank teller or working in a supermarket or you're a teacher, whatever you do is that you go and you do something and you make somebody's life a little bit easier. You provide a service to someone, and that feels really good. And same for there are women who are like, why doesn't my husband do more cleaning? And it's like, well, you really like having a clean house, and being of service in that way actually feels good.
To be totally honest, I feel like I could say the same thing. It's like, washing dishes, sometimes I want to wash dishes. It's meditative to me, It's like the cleaning is like, I like doing it. But just because I like doing it, I think that's the other thing, is like, I don't want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And
so that's, I think, where these two questions come. What do we do in order to make sure that we're also in that time where I felt resentful about cooking, that I can just say, hey, I can't do this all the time, and bring it up before it becomes a problem, right? And then also conversely, what I think it's, the Hendricks, the famous relationship doctors, it's that everyone comes to put in 100%. It's not a 50-50 game. And, and we do want to be appreciated. I get that, I really do. But I just think those are an important question, is why is that actually a problem?
To do more.
And if we both feel like doing more is an honor and a privilege because I'm doing more for the relationship, that's great. If bigger is better, if more is better, then doing more for the relationship, doing more for the love should be great.
According to that research we read today, is couples who do more, who show up more, actually have better relationship, they have better sex. The whole relationship is better overall.
Right. The level of equality in household work, the greater the equality, the greater the sex, or at least the greater amount of sex.
Yeah.
And it's not just about getting off. It's that, when you're having more sex, that also is a reflection on your intimacy, on your trust with each other, on general health of a relationship.
Yeah, we've had this conversation multiple times about chores. It's actually a never-ending conversation.
Yeah.
So right now we have a system. It works for now. It works for this house. It works for 2020. It works with COVID, but it's not going to work next year.
It may not. It might not work in 3 or 4 weeks from now.
It may not. And so I think we are going to be in this conversation, and just because we have that system doesn't mean like you or I are not going to start feeling resentful for, like, I don't know, cleaning the shoes or doing something, so.
Oh, you mean once we come up with one system, it doesn't solve all of our relationship problems? Because that now, why did we even spend all that time coming up with the system if it's not going to work?
All I'm saying is that this chore topic between couples is actually a topic that should be given attention. I think people should know, like, maybe have a list of the chores and a conversation every couple of weeks, like what's working, what's not working, how should we do it, like, how are you feeling,
Unless you don't need to. There might be a really good, and I think we might actually get to a point where it's not as important, and I hope we do.
You think we can get to that place where it's like we don't ever have to feel like who does? Like when we have kids, it's going to be like who does what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like who does what is that important, but I think the conversation is really important.
With all of that, the amount of time it will take us to figure it out, to make it work, to get into a flow, just to maximize our time and efficiency.
Okay.
Do you think it's actually better if we just go back to the old division of labor where you clean and cook and make the bed and keep the house clean, and I'll go bring home the bacon and all that stuff? Do you think that would be the way to go?
No, because I enjoy my work. I enjoy contributing to a relationship financially, and I enjoy what I do. Okay. I enjoy running my own business. I enjoy doing this podcast with you. I don't want you to be doing the podcast while I'm in the kitchen cleaning. Heck no. I don't want you to be out making the money and I'm home cleaning. Like, I really love contributing. There's like this question I think I asked myself on Monday. I was like, we had an amazing weekend, and Monday came and I was like, I'm ready to contribute to the world, to give the world my gift. I wasn't like, oh heck, it's Monday, I have to go to work. I was like, hell yeah, it's Monday.
I get to go to work.
I get to go to work. I get to give my gift. I get to make some money. I like all that.
Yeah. And I like that too.
So,
and I also like cooking, and I happen to like a clean house. Knowing that, and knowing that having a good chore balance helps in relationships now, the challenge around that, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all worth it.
I agree. I think that it's, is that freedom and these new questions that come up as they come up, and that things aren't just easy for us to figure out, actually means that we have to grow our capacity for our relationship to succeed. We might have to work a little bit harder, but by working harder, we also get better at what we're doing, so that hopefully by the time we're in our 80s and 90s, we are, relationship Buddhas.
I hope so.
Probably not, but whatever.
But in the meantime, since we have a system for doing chores, is that we are having more sex.
That's not true. We always have had more sex.
Really?
Yeah. But then again, we've always had a pretty decent division of labor.
True.
So
okay.
I guess there it is. We've had.
So you don't think that since we have this new system, like our sex life has improved?
No, but the only thing that has changed is that because we were moving around so much, and then you were in LA for almost a month without me, and there was a lot of moving around, that there was a couple months where it was a little bit less than normal, but I don't think that was because of our division of labor. I think that was because we were moving, we were trying to, fix up the cabin, you were away, then I was camping and different things. So
I was going to say it's because we've divided the chores.
Well, you know what? We can go with that story for today. Either way, let us know how you and your process goes with your own division of labor, your own search for fairness, equality, keeping score, how great or poorly your scorekeeping is working for you. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you're scorekeeping, it probably works as good as our scorekeeping does when we do it,
It's
which
not
is
great.
terribly. let us hear from you. And in the meantime, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.